Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Our Wrestling Podcast, episode 14, The Dark Match Sessions 2. And in today's little free-for-all, the boys talk how Stone Cold's legacy left an impact on today's product via WWE trying to recreate the magic that created Stone Cold, the organic magic that only Stone Cold and one other before him, Hulk Hogan, were able to create their own characters and to be larger-than-life personas. And WWE now is trying to recreate and capture that magic again, but it's not that easy because it has to be natural and organic. So today, the boys discuss comparisons such as Kevin Owens and Becky Lynch, two individuals that WWE have tried to recreate that Stone Cold magic with. They also discuss the booking of Vince McMahon and his good shit, and what it could mean for the future of professional wrestling. So without further ado, take it away, Jess, Dave, and Cuz, Our Wrestling Podcast, episode 14, The Dark Match Sessions 2.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is Our Wrestling Podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hi.
And Cuz.
What's up, you sons of bitches?
I'm bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today. It's going to be a dark session, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about what we're going into soon. But first, you can always reach us via Instagram at O.W.P 2019, SoundCloud at Our Wrestling Podcast, YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, or you can do the easy thing, download WrestlePost. It's an app at no charge to you, and join us along with other great podcasts of the day. So, we've been texting back and forth quite a bit this last week, and some of us have been very happy with current product for a minute, and some of us said, God damn, well, I guess there was one good week, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that came up is the Kevin Owens saga that continues, right? I am a big KO fan. I love Kevin Owens. I think he is one of the greatest things since sliced bread. But we've had some issues coming up with Kevin Owens and a bit of duplication, imitation, and some people feel that it's not original. And I got to tell you guys, we have a Stone Cold Steve Austin episode coming up in bio. We're really excited to bring it to you.
The legacy, son.
The legacy is right. But the thing about the legacy, it's so great.
What?
It's one of the greatest runs ever.
The
is
best.
that it's bringing up a lot of imitation, never duplicated, right? So let's talk about Kevin Owens and kind of get into it. I guess I'll bring it up quickly, not to take over too much. If you guys want to jump in, hit it any time.
I'm going to jump in and hit you with a stunner, for sure.
Well, that's kind of where we're going. The first thing that we noticed as soon as KO came back is he used the stunner to win a few matches here and there. We're like, wow, that's bold. You're just going to take the Almighty's finishing maneuver, and you're going to Stone Cold. You're just going to
Bobby Lashley's move?
stun someone.
He's going to take Bobby Lashley's move, the Almighty?
Jeez, just because I said Almighty doesn't mean it's fucking.
I know we're talking about Stone Cold and Cuz is shot out of a fucking
well, it's two
cannon.
bald
Bobby
guys.
Lashley doesn't
It's two
fucking.
bald
hold
guys.
the word Almighty.
This is the most
Jesus
vocal
Christ.
Cuz will ever be, by the way. Like, because we're talking about Stone Cold, so his dick's all hard.
God, go
Really
smoke
hard.
into the
He's shot out of a
joint, bro.
cannon.
Calm down, Jesus.
Big old chrome dome.
So, and I love Bobby Lashley. By
And
the
then
way.
he laughs at himself. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm already getting angry right now. To be honest with you,
Good.
Jesus Christ, good for good, bro. Fuck, Jesus Christ. So it actually escalated from beyond the Stone Cold Centers to where you can see Kevin Owens at this point starting to pull these, I don't know, for lack of a better word, Jesus. I'll say pipe bombs. They're cutting his mic. Oh,
No, it's just
mic.
one week
the
it happened
soundboard,
so
blah, blah,
far.
blah.
Well, I mean, yeah, because we're going to release this soon. So it just happened 1 week, and it's just painfully
Of
obvious
course.
what they're doing. It's just really stupid.
It's first he's CM Punk at the start of the show, and then he ends the show as Stone Cold.
Well, or he ended the show as CM Punk. CM Punk worked because CM Punk is really good at promos. And I think it's easy to kind of focus on CM Punk and the way he left and all that stuff. And then you have dumb shits that form their own opinion. He walked out on us and fuck whatever. Like, whatever. Like I mean, CM Punk, I'm sure is an episode for another day, but
Yes.
but the thing is
do
the
not
reason
look
why the
forward to
pipe
that.
bomb worked is because it was kind of the first of its kind, and it was the kind of the first one that really like pulled back the curtain. And so a lot of people compared him to Stone Cold, but I don't think that was right, because Punk was Punk was a product of the current product. He was when he did that promo, it was halfway touching. I mean, yeah, he broke kayfabe, if you want to call it that. I mean, that's been dead for
Quotes.
years.
Fairly genuine.
But he pulled back the curtain. He talked a little bit about, Stephanie and Hunter as executives. Nobody else has really done that before. I mean, if they did, it was painfully like obvious that they were doing it on purpose. Yeah. Punk he did like no one had ever done that before. So the problem with that is the only person that can do that going forward is Punk. So anybody else that does a pipe bomb, and I fucking hate that phrase, pipe bomb, shit bomb, whatever you want to call it.
I hate it too, bro. I get mad.
But I get it.
Myself.
Punk called it that because, again, wrestling's about marketing yourself and coming up with phrases and stuff. And so that's fine. That's fine if he wants to do it. But now you have these idiots on the internet. Oh, look at Owens pipe bomb and all that stuff. It's like, oh God, like just take me away, Calgon.
It's too painfully obvious because it's what they're trying to do. But what I meant by starting off as CM Punk and ending as Stone Cold is because the beginning of the show, not the very beginning, but like the first 10 minutes is when he did that quote pipe bomb promo, and then the end is where we saw the stunner, stunning the boss, quote the boss, and then running through the crowd and everything. So that's what I meant by that. But yeah, it's painfully obvious that promo was supposed to mimic the pipe bomb promo, and then like we discussed through text, that it's painfully obvious the way it ended with him coming in there stunning Shane McMahon during all the chaos. And, running through the crowd, running from security at the beginning and all that stuff. It's painfully obvious that that's the mimic of Stone Cold. And now, of course, you're seeing on all the fan wrestling websites, WWE is trying to make Kevin Owens the next Stone Cold. It's painfully obvious, and it's painful. It's painful just to watch and listen. It's cool because we love Kevin Owens. We all love Kevin Owens. And it's awesome that he's getting the reactions. But at the same time, you can't ignore their copying and pasting. That's what they're doing. Go back to the past, copy, paste in the present.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
And one thing I'll always say about Kevin Owens, because I'm going to go into deep defend mode on Kevin.
That's fine.
Because I do love Kevin.
Yes,
I do. He's great. Whether he's a heel or a face, I don't care. Kevin makes everything work. And it's funny because I think we were texting Jess, and Jess is like, well, if Kevin's so great, why do we constantly get him repackaged like 100 times over? And I said,
and that was more of a shot on the creative as well.
Yeah,
like Bray Wyatt and all that stuff.
Well, what did I say, Jess? I said, you already know the answer to that.
Good shit,
right? You already know the fucking answer to that question, right? It's meant to be rhetorical. It is a shot on creative because everything that they do with Kevin Owens or even a Bray Wyatt, not to get too far off tangent, but everything they do, whether it works or not, they fuck it up so bad they have to repackage it. And that's what's so frustrating with current product right now.
And also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. Yeah,
absolutely. And also, like, the distinct difference is Austin. It's funny. Austin was totally a character. He was a complete character. And it's funny how people like to remember him for not being a character. And he completely was. The whole premise was, fuck you, boss. That's what it was, which we all want to do to our bosses in real life, basically. Yes. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're dumb and you're not running this place right. So that's the character, right? Like Kevin Owens, like they're not trying to make him a character. They're trying to have him break character and say, listen, real life boss, enough. Like there's a major difference. Now it's a different time. So back then with Austin McMahon, that was groundbreaking because but that was still, everything was in character. Now they're trying to create, let's pretend that this is real. That's like the worst. Like if you start a sentence off and you're on a writing team for wrestling, you start off, so I want to do this thing where people think it's real. Like you're done. Like the NWO again, like they were characters, and that was as real as you can get. But obviously if they're going to be on television, if Scott Hall was allowed to come from a crowd, we all knew it was fake. We all knew it, but it was different. He came through the crowd. He gets in the ring on Nitro. He's like, hey, yo. And people didn't even cheer or boo. People were shocked. They were absolutely shocked to see him. But So, and yeah, they played like it's real. He's real. But let's be honest. If he really came through the crowd, security would take him away if he wasn't supposed to be there. Let's not forget that. And I know, again, it's just the fine line. It's such a fine line, so it's easy for me to critique. But again, I don't say the stupid things like, I buy tickets and I buy merchandise, so I technically bought these guys' houses and I provide them the lifestyle. No, I don't think that at all.
Yeah,
Here's what I do think, though, that I buy for my money. All the pay-per-views I've bought in, the network that I pay for, $9.99, all the pay-per-views I've attended live, all the house shows I've attended live, all that stuff buys me my opinion. So that's why I'm saying my opinion. And my opinion is correct in the sense of, because they're not doing anything that made them big in the past. They're doing everything that's anti what has made them big in the past. Like, again, I think I said it on a past episode. Vince wrote the book. He wrote the book on this, and he forgets, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, it's really, you wrote the book, dude. Like, you created these formulas. You created the Hogan formula. You created the Attitude Era formula. You created all of this stuff, that how to breed them, how to produce. Like, he came up with camera angles that other and camera techniques that the NFL bought from him. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, it's just amazing to me how he forgets so much, like, about what he's created. I guess you do in the long run, but I mean, we talked about that on the last Doctor episode too, that you just forget what you know, like, basically, for lack of a better phrase.
He wrote the book of good shit, and he doesn't read it anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't or he thinks, he doesn't read it anymore. He thinks he doesn't have to. See, I can just remember it off the top of my head, pal. And it doesn't work that way. So they can do it. That's fine. And I'm glad. And, some people are talking, but it's not positive talk, because here's what happens. So whenever he hits the stunner, I think of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who is better and who is bigger than anyone. And I'm not ripping on Owens, because I think Owens is mega talented, but so I don't want to preface anymore by saying that. That's just the way I feel about Owens, but it's not going to work. It's not, like, it's just not.
You're not going to break. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Becky was organic, and then they watered her down by painfully writing her, which you could tell the difference.
I was going to say
Becky was the one that was going. Becky was the Stone Cold, like CM Punk was. If you want to say the Stone Cold, I hate saying that because no one's Stone Cold, but CM Punk was the next guy. Hulk Hogan was the first guy. Austin was the second coming. Punk could have been the third coming, but they neutered him. And Becky could have been the fourth coming, in the sense that she could have helped really push the women's revolution or evolution,
because there was natural organic reaction to her too. Like the fact that accidentally stupid Nia Jax busted her open, and you had that. It's a pretty good image of her, bleeding and in the crowd.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And then they did stuff with her leg being injured, and she comes in and hits people with crutches, and security aren't going after her when she's supposed to be suspended.
Right.
She taps out to Asuka at the Royal Rumble.
They overthink it. They overthink it. They want to swerve you and stuff, because they feel like, okay, we let the crowd give us the organic seed of the idea, but now we're going to grow it. We're going to water it with whatever we want. Yeah. You can't. We're going to get into it on the actual Austin episode, so I don't want to talk too much about him directly. Yes. But the main reason why he got over, and we can fight about it later if people disagree, is because he got injured and could not legitly wrestle in real life.
That is the truth.
That is the main reason why he was as big as he got. And without that, he would have been an over wrestler. Absolutely. He probably would have been their top babyface. But at the same time, like, it would not have had the edge that he had. The Vince McMahon character wouldn't have been able to bite into that and really get his, sink his teeth into the content. Like, it just wouldn't have been the same. It would have worked. It would have been over, all that stuff. But
you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have had that promo of, me and the WWF fans care about you, and the whole, I appreciate the fact that you and the WWF fans care. Yeah, I also appreciate that you could kiss my ass. Boom.
That's the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing right there that sparked it.
Even taking a step further, to your point, Jess, when you're talking about Austin and McMahon, it has to be so incredibly controlled, and it can't be controlled unless Austin is not working. So the one thing that I watched recently over the weekend when I was typing up the outline for Stone Cold, because, like, guys, it's coming. I swear to God, it's coming. I promise. But I was watching the whole Kiss My Ass segment with Vince and Stone Cold.
I loved it.
And yeah, I mean, we all loved it, right? But the thing about it is, when you watch everything they're doing, there is literally not anything but one real Stone Cold Stunner in that whole segment. But the whole time, it's coming in anticipation, and Stone Cold is so patient. And he's like, well, and then Vince is like, well, if you're gonna kiss my ass, you better have some of this. And he breaks out chapstick. I mean, it is 10 minutes before Stone Cold even gets within a foot of his ass. You know what I'm saying? It's like they did so much to plot that out. It is so controlled, but it's so fun. And I'm going to talk about it in the outline. At the end of the day, all anybody ever wanted was the finish, and the finish was a Stone Cold Stunner every fucking Raw.
But it's just setting him up and knocking him down. All Vince did, Vince the character, all Vince the character did was he's a manager, if you want to classify him as something. That's technically what Mr. McMahon. I know he took his shirt off and he tried to have the jackhammer and he wrestled and stuff. But I mean, that was just made you more pissed. Vince always knew that I have to get my one-on-one. I would get my ass beat in a second. It's not even. There's no question.
Yeah.
Right. There's no question.
Sure.
But Austin would always have the last laugh, but McMahon would draw the storylines out and create drama by, using The Undertaker or Kane in the storylines to get in Austin's way. So Austin couldn't get to Vince. That's where the Weasel chicken shit bad guy was acting all confident and cocky. But when it came to it, it's like, why don't you face Stone Cold? Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have The Undertaker do it. So that's what makes you hate Vince more. And it prolonged everything because Austin had to get through all that stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the Corvette was going to get filled with concrete. Vince was going to piss his pants. He was going to come to the ring with the Zamboni. He was going to come to the ring with the beer truck and squirt everybody. Ultimately, that was the fucking Austin has your number moment. And that's what they don't do today because Stephanie and Triple H have to get one over all the time. They have to look smarter than you. They have to be smarter than you. Shane McMahon has to wrestle. He has to pin people. He has to it's wrong. It's all wrong. Vince would win shit by completely going out of his way. I mean, they would just fall short of just gunning Austin down with a rifle. That's what they would have to do for Vince to win a Royal Rumble or whatever they were going to do with Vince, right? But Austin always had a revenge plot. It didn't take that long to get to. Whereas in today's product, and what's going to happen with Owen is we're going to have a goddamn one-on-one match with Shane and Kevin Owens. And it's not going to work because it's not what works. And
it's not organic either.
It's not organic. And I want a Weasel that is hiding behind all these big soldiers. And the way you prep it is you have the hero knock the soldiers down one by one as he's coming in. And then eventually, yes, he will finally get to the Weasel and he will beat the shit out of him. That's why St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which we'll probably talk about in the Austin episode, didn't get a big buy rate.
About the Red Rooster for a second.
It didn't get a big buy rate because of the fact that people knew Austin's going to beat the shit out of him in a cage, and they really staged that whole event just for the Big Show to debut, which is fine. But that's why people were saying the climax finally didn't really make any sense because he finally got his hands on Vince. He beat the shit out of him, which you all knew was going to happen, and Vince felt he needed to take big bumps, and it didn't work. Just like when Shane gets in there and takes big bumps, it doesn't work. Like, yeah, we remember Shane from falling from shit or whatever, but that's and Austin or Angle trying to throw him through glass and couldn't do it. That's what you remember Shane for. That's fine. But as far as storyline is concerned, if he's going to be the main evil villain, you gotta be painfully obvious that you're lesser than the hero. You have to show everyone from the beginning, I'm not as good as him. That's why I'm fighting so hard to stop him, because I know that he's good and that, Austin, again, he was the modern day Hulk Hogan. He wasn't yellow and red kiss babies Hulk Hogan. He was fuck you, I'll stun anybody. But that's just what the times were. That was the late 90s, early 2000s. So he fit the mold of the day, but the formula never changes, does it? It never does. It never changes it. Bobby Heenan was feuding with Hulk Hogan. That's who was feuding with Hulk Hogan. They don't know that by now. Like, it was Bobby Heenan, and he would throw his guys in front. And then he got the biggest and baddest guy, Andre. And then, like, when that wouldn't work, DiBiase steps in, and he was a chicken shit. He was a wrestler, but he bought people. Like, he showed, I can't beat you. I got to buy things. Like, so it was all painfully obvious that Hulk was the best. But like, these weasels, these assholes are going to create objectives. They're gonna do things. That's really. It's an antagonist, and what do they call it? And I'm
protagonist.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I can thank you, cuz God.
So
smartest man in life.
With that,
smartest man in the room.
If I play devil's advocate at that moment, what's the point then? If you say that Shane's not doing that, not that I enjoy the storyline because I don't. Aren't you feeling that Drew McIntyre and
Elias.
What's his fuck? Elias. Those guys are doing just that. He's developing.
Well,
a
they're
stable
doing
right
it
now,
against fucking Roman Reigns. That's all they're really doing, and that's fine if they would have kept that. But they did that for what, a couple weeks, and then they decided now that Owens needs to cut a promo and talk about what's real and all that stuff. And it's like, oh my god. But I mean, I will give Owens credit.
Shane McMahon, the odds are stacked against Shane because he's rivaling on both shows, which is fucking stupid.
Let me ask a couple questions.
That might change
for both of you guys. 2 questions.
No.
Yes, 2 questions. One.
Shut up.
What I've been feeling, just because it's like once Owens mentioned it, because obviously fans are also complaining that they're tired of Shane taking up TV time. So let's rewind it. I should say it seems like it's been obvious that they've been positioning Shane to be in this spot to rival maybe a Stone Cold if they had planned that. Because to me, it seems obvious from everything from the Best in the World tournament where he came in and won that ridiculous tournament and, ridiculously that he won, to shoving him down everyone's throats where people are actually complaining about him taking up all this time. He's got his muscle in Drew and Elias. And answer if you agree on this or not. This is the first question. Do you think it's because we already know it's more than likely that he's going to be taking the title off of Kofi? And then this is where they plan the feud to try to recreate the Stone Cold and Vince, in that people are so pissed at Shane taking up all this time. That's why Owens mentioned it in his little, quote, pipe bomb promo, because the plan is probably going to be Shane takes the title off of Kofi, and you're going to eventually lead it to be where they're pushing Owens as the Austin-like figure to where people are going to be so behind it and they think it's going to work organically that, oh, this is the guy. Yeah, he's going to take the title off Shane. We're fucking sick and tired of Shane. Shane got the title from Kofi and he's being shoved down our throats. Do you think that's what they're trying to do here?
I wouldn't be surprised, because that's their awful thinking. Because and it already has backfired in the sense that everything they've tried has been like shoving things down our throat. Like it would not surprise me at all. Like if that's what they tried to do.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like
it's so misguided.
Pushing him down our throats to the point where that's what we want to see. Like where we're like, yes, Kevin Owens.
That's what they think. And that's the problem. That's why I'm scared that the Bischoff and Heyman thing won't do a goddamn thing, because the mentality in that company I'll put it in a nutshell. They think Baron Corbin's heat is good heat, and it's not. So they will naturally think that Shane McMahon, oh, you don't like him on TV? Well, then we're going to winkety dinkety put him on TV every week. That's going to get you pissed, right? They don't know the difference anymore between Baron Corbin fucking die, or Baron Corbin don't be at the top of the card or even the mid. We don't want you here. They don't know the difference between that and something that's like, no, I really hate this guy because he's a good heel, like Mr. McMahon, the character, or something like that. They don't know the difference. So, because you're right, that probably is where they're going, but it's absolutely 100% wrong. And if that's the way that the McMahon or the Heyman and Bischoff thing is going to go, it's going to fail. It's going to do the same thing. If this is Vince's spin, if he's hiring people, again, like I think I said it, I compared it to headlines. If he's doing it just to get headlines, to throw people off the scent that he's still in charge. No, Heyman's in charge, pal. Bischoff's in charge, pal. I'm an old man. Where am I? What the fuck? Like, if he's going to do that, again, we're not dumb. That's as dumb as thinking that Baron Corbin actually has legit heel heat, and he doesn't. He has get the fuck off my TV or I will throw it out my window heat, and that is not good. He has changed the channel heat. Like, that's not good. And people in that company don't see that. Until that goes away, until that perception or that the way of thinking goes away in that company, it will never change. We will see a good Raw like we saw, and then we'll see a fucking abysmal Raw the next week. Just a fucking garbage. And SmackDown was good, but I always say it. SmackDown ends up being good because it's only 2 hours. If it was 3 hours, trust me, it would be just as bad as Raw.
Yeah.
And it's all of this is a waste. The Pritchard rehiring and the Bischoff and the Heyman and the Titantron and the wow. All of this is a waste if the thinking behind the scenes is Baron Corbin has good heat, not bad heat. And you don't like Shane? That means we're going to put him on the TV more. They don't know that Shane McMahon is getting Baron Corbin heat, but on SmackDown. He's getting get him the fuck off my television now heat. Instead of like people are like, no. You mean he's a good heel heat? No, I don't mean that. I mean, fuck you and fuck your company, and I'm going to change the channel. You don't really mean that.
No,
you
mean like if there was any competition at the same time, you'd be changing the channel.
Oh my Christ, we'd be changing the channel. The ratings would be worse.
Doesn't that suck though when the veil's lifted and you see through all that shit? Like I hate it, like because it's painful. Like we were just talking about, right? That what I mentioned as far as what they're probably planning on doing. It sucks that the veil is lifted in that sense, and that we know what you're trying to do. You're trying to force it. Yeah, like you said, Shane has that get off my TV heat. I just hope that at the very least, it's enjoyable as far as the matches that we get. I hope that maybe there's.
I think it's kind of always been though. Well, actually, no, I take it back. It won't be because that stupid no fucking match during commercial rule. So now it's fucking worse. Like you're gonna get 4-minute matches.
No, bullshit. No, I'm talking about as like far as
pay-per-views
revolving around Kevin and all that stuff.
And and on a side tangent, let me just say that actually I know people are belly aching about this, but doing different things and trying to get more creative so that you're not missing a match on Raw during commercial is not the end of the world. Like no, it's not. I would rather them handicap matches in the sense of not handicap like 2-on-1. I mean like handicap matches and keep them 4 minutes or 5 minutes in length on Raw because I want the pay-per-views. I just call them pay-per-views. They're really not pay-per-views anymore. Paper stream. I don't know what you want to call them. But I would rather those be more important, and that's where I get my 15, 16 minute, Owens versus whatever, than me getting it on Raw. I mean, every now and then, yes, it's good to have a good main event on Raw that goes 15, 20 minutes. Sure. Yeah. But I mean, and then you got to figure out the commercial break at that point. Maybe take them all, whatever at one time.
Well, I wouldn't mind if they worked it where if they could somehow position it where you get a 4 to 5 minute match every time, and then maybe just the main event, to make it a big deal. This is the only 2 out of 3 falls of the night. So
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on this one. I want them to have time to figure this out. People are so fast to shit on everything. So I will defend them in that sense. I'm not totally unfair. Sure I want them to work this. I don't think that's a bad concept of, let's not, let's not have matches through the commercial. Because sometimes matches end up being long for no reason just because they know they have to go through a commercial break. And we don't want to see Baron Corbin for fucking 9 minutes versus anybody. So I'm fine with that. I'm honestly.
It brings back your argument, Jess. It brings back the argument of bring some fucking prelims back. And
yes, a
little bit. We've seen some prelims or enhancement talent. I think the Viking Raiders went through another set this week.
They did.
In their sick mind, what Bobby Lashley did to Rey Mysterio was getting Bobby Lashley over, and it wasn't. It's pissing. You don't use Rey to get people over like that. It's meaningless when that happens.
You could have brought someone in from the city. You could have brought someone local.
Bobby Lashley coming back and selling the moves like he wasn't hurt or whatever would have worked just as fine on a prelim, because that's really what the big thing was, is to get Lashley over like a badass. You have Braun in the hospital and he couldn't, but fucking Lashley, comes in fucking shiny like a brand new toy, like he's not even hurt, and he just destroys a prelim in 4 seconds. It's the same message. Instead, you sacrifice Rey. Why? Well, we can't go into commercial break with the match, so don't do it at all. Huh? So don't do it at all. It's like what Conrad always yells at Bruce about. Why would you do it at all? Well, because we had to. No, you didn't. Why wouldn't you just not do that match? There's
so many other guys there. You already shit on these other guys that don't get TV time. You might as well have used one of them for that.
Yeah, why couldn't Zack Ryder fucking lose to Bobby Lashley? I don't know why.
Zack Ryder and Curtis Hawkins. You might as well. Yeah. You've already shit in that bed and fucking fucked that up long time ago. You might as well have had him dominate.
But I know their thinking is A, it's Rey, and B, well, we needed a reason for Lashley to surprise you. If we had a planned prelim match, you would think the announcers would announce, oh, by the way, next, Bobby Lashley in action. I get what they're saying, but I'm like, just don't put yourself in that position. It's all fake. So you can script whatever you want to make sense.
You still could have said that, Jess. Oh, Bobby Lashley is back in action, and then before you go to break, how is that possible? And then you have the prelim in the ring.
Yeah,
it's not that hard. You have
ladies and gentlemen, we have
here comes Bobby Lashley. I can't believe he's even walking.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kurt Hawkins in the ring, and I'm hearing something over my earpiece. His opponent is, and then boom, his music hits. Bobby Lashley? I thought he was dead. Whatever. That's why can't you do that?
Corey goes, holy shit.
Yeah, Holy says it again. Holy shit every time he sees him. Why couldn't that happen? I don't understand why that couldn't happen. They make it hard on themselves and they overthink things. No, to do it, wouldn't it be majorly impactful if he just beats the shit out of Rey? Why? Rey is like one of your top drawing Latino wrestlers. Why? Why would you do that?
Well, he's no bigger than a prelim anyway, so it's not shocking if he came in and destroyed and demolished. I
get that. Yes, Bobby Lashley should be able to destroy someone of Rey's size. I get that, but at the same time, why can't Bobby destroy prelim and then after they got back from the commercial, hey, guess what? The returning Rey Mysterio Jr. is facing a prelim. Why would that? And then you just push 2 wrestlers. Isn't that fucking weird?
I love
Instead of shitting on one, shitting on a legend, a legit big draw for your company and your certain demographic, and pushing Lashley over, who gets no reaction. And I like Lashley. I think Lashley's cool. I think that TNA of all places used him better. I can't believe I'm saying that. And like, it just I don't understand how they're missing the mark with him. He's everything that they want. You got to put a good mouthpiece with him though. But fucking bring, you know what?
Or
on top of that, while I'm bringing prelims back and original Pepsi, bring back fucking managers. What the fuck is wrong with managers? Bring them back. Like,
which is why I didn't mind Leo Rush, even though that was annoying. Lashley, that part was horrendous, but I didn't mind him as a mouthpiece.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, but he was fine. But or bring back, if you don't bring back like Baron Corbin managers that are bigger than their talent.
Yeah,
bring back fucking find someone that looks fucking old, and by old I mean like legit 50-year-old. Someone who's not like, I'm not saying of some fat slob like Paul Bear. I'm saying like somebody like that was a shout out to Joe. I'm not saying like do that, but Jimmy Hart didn't look like a wrestler. Bobby Heenan didn't look like a wrestler. Slick didn't look like a wrestler. So if Mr. Fuji used to be a wrestler, but he looked old when he retired, so they made him a manager. He fucking used a cane and all this shit. Like, so why not do that now? Why do you have to? When they do try to bring back managers, they try to bring back like.
Speaking of that, this is just more further proof as to why NXT is better. I don't know the guy's name, but I don't know if you guys have seen him. He's been managing Riddick Moss, and I don't remember the other guy. It's another NXT, one of the newer guys that they, it's a random tag team that just formed together, but they have a mouthpiece. They have a manager, a guy that's dressed up in a suit. He kind of, the look almost reminds me of Harvey Whippleman. Just a guy with these suits and glasses, and he's doing all the annoying talk.
Because
what?
It's Jess Wibbleman. Get it right.
Okay. Jess Wibbleman. But
no, that's what I mean. Right. Like, so for example, they have like classes. Right, they bring wrestlers in the performance center to wrestle, right? Obviously. Then they also have separate classes for referees. A lot of people don't know that, but they do. They train the referees. So why wouldn't you have a separate class for managers? Like people who just don't have the ring shape or they're not in shape or whatever, but like they, you go through a couple managers like, oh, that guy has a fucking face I want to punch. Let's see if he can cut a promo. Let's see if I can get him, you can't look as good as your talent when you're a manager. That's why Bobby Heenan was so good, because if Bobby Heenan was in shape and muscular, he's very funny. He was super talented, but I don't know if it would have worked that well. Like Paul Ellering could only manage Legion of Doom because they were so big, but Paul Ellering was legitimately fucking in shape. He's still in shape now, Paul Ellering. He's actually Paul Ellering will whip your ass like in a second right now, but he looked great against the Road Warriors, so it worked. But when you put Paul Ellering against other managers, you're like, God damn, Paul Ellering's fucking a big motherfucker. Like he's ripped. Like, you don't want that in your managers. Like you don't want that. The character Mr. McMahon worked with that because we thought he was out of shape because he was the announcer for years that you never knew was the owner with the fucking jackets with the massive shoulder pads. But to see him muscular made you laugh, but he was still a bitch. He still got his ass beat, but at the same, because he wasn't a wrestler in the storyline. Austin was a real wrestler. Vince was not a real wrestler. He might've been in shape, but Vince knew behind the scenes, like, okay, I'm not a real wrestler, so I can't out wrestle him. That makes zero sense. So to go back to Shane, to have him do better stunts than most of the wrestlers, like, Mick Foley was special. So to see him get thrown off a cage is like, only Mick Foley can do that. That's nobody else should dare try that because only. But then fucking Shane, when he fought Steve Blackman of all people at a SummerSlam, he fucking fell from the grid, wasn't it, or something like that? Everything that you're showing Shane do, you're kind of shitting on Mick Foley and everybody that you save those spots for. This is a hard spot to do. Nobody should do this, and people do it rarely because very few people can do it. And then Shane McMahon's like, no, I can fall off that. No, I know you missed the point, Shane. No, look at me. No, I know, Shane. That's the whole point is psychology. No, look, I'll jump off it right now. No, I know you're going to, don't jump off it right now. Okay, he jumped off it right now. Fuck. Like, and that's what Shane does. But Vince is like, go ahead, pal. Go ahead, son, do it. Like, why? Like, why? Why have a competitive match with anybody? I never liked Shane for that reason, even when he was in his prime, because like he's having competitive matches with Kurt Angle. Yeah, we all remember him not being able to be thrown through the glass or whatever. That was a mistake, actually. But I mean, it's burned in our heads. But when you go back and watch that match, that was a brutal fucking match. It went like 15, 20 minutes at least. Like, so he was having a competitive match with the best wrestler in the world. Now, I know they were saying that, well, it's a street fight, so that's where Shane's advantage is. I don't know if you've seen Kurt Angle lately, he could pretty much beat your ass doing whatever he wants. That's how good he is. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. Like I can talk about it forever, but I mean, it's just like, they forget the basics. Like Cuz says, like, it's just fucking, this guy is going to get some attention. He's going to be like a manager. He's probably going to do well. And they're going to get him up on the main roster and probably shit on him or probably turn him into a 205 Live guy. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like they're just
actually, you know what? I can't believe I fucking didn't realize this. But that manager, his name is Robert Strauss, but it's actually Robbie E from Impact.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, because I forgot he signed earlier in the year, and yeah, he's managing Riddick Moss and Dan Matha. That was.
But he's a cruiserweight, and he could, as long as he wears like a suit and tie or something, he doesn't show off. Because Robbie, he's in really good shape.
He wears a suit and glasses.
Yeah,
and he's I'm not a manager.
Like,
I'm a brand. Like that's how he's going around.
Fine, that's fine too. But always manage people bigger than you. Like that's all.
These
that's
guys
fine.
are huge compared to him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Like that's the Authors of Pain. That's why Paul Ellering was good with them because they're big dudes. So like you have to be careful about who you put in there. But then again, like, yeah, you could use guys like that. Or why am I forgetting the guy's name? With Bobby Lashley. You said his name earlier.
Oh, Leo Rush.
Yeah, I know he's getting shit, because I guess he's a dick backstage or he's a diva or whatever. But I mean, like Leo, I thought you'd keep going, man. You keep going with Leo, you develop him. That's the thing is like they just throw him with Lashley.
He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, they throw him with Lashley, and then they're just like, well, let's keep trying to develop Lashley. I'm like, no, develop Leo, who will help Lashley get over. It's a formula that you wrote. Like, it makes you so mad. Like, you wrote the book on this shit. Like, and Vince didn't write the book on managers, because managers were around for years. But I mean, obviously, Vince bought everybody when he first started. So Bobby Heenan grew somewhere else, and Grand Wizard grew up somewhere else, and Jimmy Hart came from the South, and, all that stuff. But I mean, like, you wrote the book on how to groom people and make characters work. Do it again. That's all you have to do. But he's not. Bischoff and Heyman were to get headlines to throw you off the scent, because everybody was blaming Vince for this depression that we're in right now. Everyone's blaming Vince because Vince goes out of his way to be like, the buck stops with me, pal. Even though he, in Hall of Fame speeches, don't mention my name. I'm so modest. I'm so modest. No, you want everyone to say that because that puts more value on you when they say that. Don't mention Vince. It's a big thing. And Triple H did a whole fucking 5-minute joke about it, on their Hall of Fame speech. Vince does it all on purpose to keep his ego huge and to keep people really holding Vince up. And I get it. If you're a good boss or manager, you got to kind of be sort of like up higher than everybody else. And I fully respect that and agree with that. But like, you cannot, your ratings are so bad. It's time to stop fucking playing. It's time to get serious and get your fucking product serious. Don't play games and just try to make a couple big headlines to distract the people. See, look at that shiny object over there. I'm still in charge. No, don't do that, Vince. Let it go. Put other people in charge. You could still be there. You could still be, I worked for a company where the original guy who started the company, he wasn't the CEO anymore. His son was, but he still came to work 4 days out of the week and he was 83 years old. Fine. But he still talked to the son and sat there and asked him, what are you doing? And what's that deal about and all that stuff. So he was still involved, but the son was the new guy and he ran the business and he made the decisions and all that stuff. Vince has to let it go. And I don't know if Shane's the guy that can run the company, but like Steph and Triple H are next, man. They are. And like, it's what it needs to be. And you can't no hiring of the past and the Bischoffs and the, all that. It's to distract people. But if you're still going to play that dumb game of the buck stops here, pal, it will stop there, Vince. If you know what I'm saying, that's not a good thing. It will stop there. And it will literally stop there because you're going to piss off networks so bad. People don't want to give billions of dollars unless they get, back on their return, right? Like, so it's not going to happen much. You get on Fox and you start drawing shit ratings, like you're in trouble. You're in major trouble because what's going to happen is you're going to get demoted to Fox Sports Net. And then when that happens, or Fox Sports 1 or whatever they call it, their shit channel. And then your stockholders going to be like, loser. And they're going to go. And then guess what? The XFL, I don't see how that's going to be a big fucking success either. I think they might, if they run the business right, it might be okay. But I don't know, man. Like, he's really setting himself out for some really bad shit right now. I just feel it's coming. And every time I see the good Raw that we saw and then right back to the shit, I get so confident in my opinion of, man, I'm not saying they're going to go out of business because they're so big it's going to be hard to put them out of business, but we're about ready to see a catastrophe, like a big fall, like a really bad one. And I think they're so embedded that they wouldn't go out of business. I think there's so many other investors and, they know how to make money, WWE, they know how to market themselves and do all that. But I think that we are headed for something really bad. I don't think this Bischoff and Heyman thing's going to help. I'm sorry. I really don't. Maybe I'll eat my words after Extreme Rules, but we saw that great Raw where Heyman, quote unquote, taken over. And then we saw the dismal Raw that we saw last week. And then now headlines are hitting. Oh, well, they're not really starting till after Extreme Rules. Well, really,
I think Heyman had a lot to do with that good Raw. I think he did.
No, he did.
I mean, it was
did.
reported, right? I mean, I think he did.
He did, but there was no reports. He should have been involved with the week after it too. There was no trial. You know, maybe they did that behind the scenes. They didn't tell anybody. They wanted Heyman to do one, and then they wanted to go back to their old formula and see how different it looked.
Until
I don't know how.
Because I mean, it makes sense to hold off.
Yeah, you have 5 years worth of shows that you could look at. Why sacrifice another week at this point, right? Why give us a big Raw and hold, get people all excited, and the ratings actually went up a little bit and all that stuff, and it was all positive, and then you give us the absolute dog shit that you gave us last week. It scares me to death because I'm like, oh man, like he really is in charge still. Man, it's not going to get better. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping after Extreme Rules, when they hand the reins over, we see these beautiful different products, and it's all good. And they're going to make mistakes, right? They're going to push the wrong people and figure stuff out. That's fine. That's all about it, right? How many times were we growing up where we see someone come and go? Oh, I guess that guy didn't work out. I guess Phantasma, remember the magician that they had in the mid 90s? Like
God.
He didn't work out. I guess Tugboat didn't last very long. I guess. I guess the Who didn't last very long, and so they tried stuff, and it's fine. That's going to happen. That's totally natural. But when you don't have a control on your top guys, like we're talking about Owen and emulating Austin, and they're just trying to copy formulas, you're in major, major trouble. If you don't remember what the character Mr. McMahon meant to Austin, if you don't remember that, I don't know what to say for you. I just don't, because you're in trouble. And you're not gonna get out of this by putting Owens over, by doing that 1 week and all that stuff. Like, he's just literally going out there and saying what we all think at this point. Like, hey, ratings are down. This shit sucks. You take up too much TV time. That we all think that, right? He's not putting a wrestling spin on it. He's just saying the obvious. Austin was a character, and Austin said stuff in his character. CM Punk, as direct as we all thought he was, he stayed in his character. That was his character. And good people know how to do that stuff, and good writers know how to nurture that. And obviously, you see what they did to CM Punk. They shit on him. They cooled him down. Triple H pinned him like a month later or whatever it was. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's all ridiculous. And until they realize that they're their own poison, it sucks, man. I'm a wrestling fan, and I want them to do well, but it's not going to get better. It won't.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think. It kind of says it all, man. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what everybody thinks they want. They want to go back to the Attitude Era, so they try to give them visibility of what it was, but there's several big gaps missing. And I think to Jess's point, like if Shane's gonna sit here and do what Mankind to do, what does that say to about Mankind? Like he's shitting on the product on a daily basis. Just by doing what only wrestlers should be able to do. Triple H is the same way. He's got to wrestle in every fucking promotion there is, every fucking WrestleMania. He has to be in it. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. Give new people new opportunities. Let them be themselves. Because if you let Kevin Owens be himself and you say, instead of being Stone Cold .2, or 2.0, hey, Kevin, what do you think we should do? And you actually give him some real input, I guarantee you he would return on investment because he is that invested. You can tell by what he puts into what he's given that he's invested. When you have somebody like that, the best thing you can do is turn him loose. That's what they did to The Rock. They turned him loose. Stone Cold, Punk, they turned him loose a little bit. And only when they try to rein it back in because they think it's too much, that's when it goes to shit. And that's really what happens. It happened in every single... I mean, and to the point of that, Punk going home for real, Austin going home for real. That's what the fans think it has to be. It has to be that close to the edge. But I'll be honest with you, for the most part, I'd probably say 80% of the time, Punk wasn't mad until the end. Stone Cold didn't go home until it was really time to go home. The whole time he was kicking, Vince in the balls and delivering stunners to him, they were in the back laughing about how great it was afterwards. That's the difference that Jess is talking about. They are playing characters. When it gets too real, that's when it's fucked. That's when Punk went home. That's when Punk's like, what the fuck is going on? When Stone Cold's like, this is fucking stupid. I'm going home. But the fans want to associate that with, it's so great. That's what happens because it's really real. It's like, no, it wasn't as real as you think until it got really stupid, and then it got real.
That's why Moxley left. That's why Sasha walked. That's why Cody's gone. That's not good for this company. It does good for outside because now we're all looking at other things out there, which is great. That's why it's so great to be a wrestling fan right now. But it's not good for Vince. It's not good. And this reality stuff has got to stop. Nobody really knew how to harness social media, but they didn't try because they really are. We think of them as this big together company, and you see the inside of their offices and it's so great and all that stuff, and they're so official, and they're publicly traded now and this and that. But honestly, they don't. Yes. They're a wrestling company, and Vince fights it every day. No, we're gonna entertain. No, you're not. You're a fucking wrestling company. Your product falls on this formula that is decades old that you just change with times to make it more modern, but it's the same formula, and that's called professional wrestling. And the more you fight it, the more it's gonna hurt. And without the star power, none of this makes any sense. I could stand the Maria, storylines of I'm pregnant and all that. When the top of the card is on fire, like Austin and DX, I can handle all that shit because it's trial and error. That might work, maybe it not work. I'll never tolerate giving birth to a hand ever. That's stupid. But I mean, you will tolerate that. I will go along with the 24-hour title and how funny what's his face is. Truth is and all that stuff, and Drake, they're very funny. But when that's all, and how great the vignettes for Bray Wyatt is, and all, I will go along with all of that and ride in, and I'll experiment with you, and I'll do that. But if the top of the card is shit, and that's the only thing you're giving me, I don't accept it. I don't, because I can only chuckle so much at someone running from challengers that are after his title. I can only chuckle so much, with someone on a plane with other wrestlers, and every wrestler should be fucking dogpiling him, trying to pin him into sleep. But yet, R-Truth's the only one that knew how to do that. Okay, but I will ignore that if the rest of the card is smart and the way it's supposed to be. If you have a certain realism to it, the main card is serious, wrestling. And you do funny stuff like Bang 316, and I get it, and the fucking concrete and the Corvette and all that. You're gonna have that too. But Austin was challenging for a title. He was serious. He was fuck you, boss. He was, you're not gonna tell me what to do. That's just more of a serious tone. Whereas, and then we could laugh at the undercard stuff. But when you're only giving me good which shows me that WWE has good writers, they're either so depressed or they're programmed to be lazy, and that's scary because they are lazy. It's all lazy writing. It doesn't mean that there's not talent there. Don't waste it. Don't waste it, please. Like, Vince, you're going to die someday. You just will. Maybe you won't die for another 100 years. Would not surprise me. But you are going to die someday. You got to let other people influence the product. You're old. I know it sucks, man. Why does it have to be such a violent takeover in most of these things? Why does someone have to die, or someone have to, pretty much fuck someone over in real life and take a company from them to show them that you're not what this company needs anymore? Well, why does it be like that? Why can't he just be like, you know what? I've had a hell of a run. I'm in my 70s. I'm going to go bang some hookers. Why can't you just do that? Why can't you do that?
Because he's more machine than man.
Yeah, he's fucking part Terminator like Vince is. And I admire it. Again, we can, just fucking, God, know when to hold him and know when to hold him, baby. It's just fucking.
Linda's going to watch all of this.
It's time. That's a good Sunday for me. It's time to fold to fold the tent, buddy. And give it to Triple H and give it to Stephanie. Yes. And he can be a consultant. Who's to say Vince can't just fucking trawl in oh, look at Vince over there. He's in Crocs this week. That's fine. Why can't that be? Why can't Vince just walk in?
The Bischoff and Heyman. Not that he's gonna as soon as they start. All right, you guys are in charge. See you later. I'm hoping and I'm thinking maybe this could be possible. Everything from with the XFL coming up, and you would think you might want to focus more on the business side of WWE and the XFL. Maybe this is just a slow transition into, okay, we can bring in Bischoff and Heyman, two guys that, I butted heads, but I know these guys will disagree with me. And also at the same time, I will be comfortable and confident to know that I got these two guys who have been in the business for a long time. And then I have Triple H and Stephanie taking over, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I'm saying slow.
I have two people that I hired that.
Yeah, I know. Two people that I fucking fucked over.
That I know aren't smarter than me. That's the thing.
I'm saying
we should do a whole episode. We should do a whole
Yes.
other episode on Heyman and Bischoff because, like, I'm a fan of Bischoff.
Yeah, same here.
I've always liked Eric Bischoff and what he did, but God damn it, the guy made some huge mistakes, and he never knew. Bischoff never knew what he had. He says it all the time. I never knew. So I hope he. But what was the quote that just came out recently? Bischoff did an interview, and he's like, "I have a lot to learn." Really? You're gonna go and be the head executive for fucking Fox, you dumb shit, and your comment is, "Man, I got a lot to learn." You should already know it. You're fucking in it now, my friend. Like you are. Bischoff has no
He's
idea
taking
about
it serious though. I think it may have been the same interview. That
me too. I would do the same thing too. I would move. Is that serious enough for you? But when I get in my fucking chair and they're just like, "How are we going to do this?" I really don't know because I really fucked my company, didn't I? The first time. So what is he really going to do? Like, come on, like, what's he really going to do? He's not going to do anything. Bischoff's that's going to be the biggest wreck
from a pro wrestling
SmackDown,
standpoint. He won't do what Heyman
unless he's smart enough to get people. Yeah, Heyman kind of is the source of creativity.
Production wise, he might make that difference there.
But maybe Bischoff might just surround himself with writers and be like, okay, you guys are gonna be the creative. I'm gonna be the production guy. That could work. I'm not saying
he'll have
that
Shane and Triple H and those people to put to have his back in that sense.
Yeah, I think everyone's just thinking that he's going to run it the same way as Heyman runs Raw, and maybe not. Maybe Heyman's going to run it as like, I'm also going to be one of the head creative guys because he is that creative, But maybe Bischoff might be like, well, I'm going to run it more of like I'm going to hire head creative guy or take someone that we already currently have and make him my head creative.
Well, that's why
guy,
their positions are
gonna,
executive director of creative.
Yeah. So maybe they will, and maybe I'm just trying to look into the crystal ball too much. I mean, I do like a lot about what Bischoff, the vision that he had and stuff, and what he did administratively. So it might work.
We all enjoyed WCW, right? When it was good. I mean,
because of last week's Raw, I feel pretty confident in the fact that we're going to see a fucking like a bag of shit lit on fire. Like I just kind of feel that's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong.
To each their own. I don't think so, but
every week they show me.
That's joy. That's joyous, but Jess, that's joyous for at least one.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't understand. Right? I mean, if people want to be optimistic, that's fine. I feel I am optimistic. I'm just citing what I see. Like, I mean,
I just think it's going to be slower than everyone else thinks. Everyone thinks it's just going to be first thing after Extreme Rules. It's we're back.
You're telling me that your favorite color is red. And I'm not saying that to play off SmackDown or Raw. I'm just saying you're telling me that your favorite color is red, but every day I see you come in and not one day do you wear red. After a while, I'm going to be like, I thought you said your favorite color is red. Do you not like wearing red? I'll do it. I'll wear red. Okay. I'm just saying like, your favorite color is red, but you never wear red. I will. Okay. All right. Okay. I feel that's what like I do with Vince and his product every week when I watch it. I'm gonna give you good television. Okay. Well, I mean, you're not doing it right now, so when are you gonna do that? I will though. Okay. When? But I will soon.
Like I said before, if he's not going to make the changes to steer it in the right direction, I mean, it's obviously not going to be him making the decision alone. He might go down with the fight, and it might take the combination of Shane, Stephanie, Linda, Bischoff, Heyman to steer him. But
what? Because why do you think this is going to be a hostile takeover, bro?
No, I don't mean like they're going to hold him down and fucking beat the shit out of him.
Maybe they should. Maybe
I'm just saying that
you're saying like they're going to
unless Vince is purposely wanting to crash his company into the ground, there's no way that it's not gonna,
oh god, I don't know. We've already ran too long in this episode. I can't believe you said that right now. It's not like, ridiculous. And some people actually think that that's true, and it's just the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard.
I don't think, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no reason to believe that he's gonna.
Nothing is as romantic as you think it is, right? Like nothing is. He's an old man that's out of touch, and that's it. I'm talking through you because I'm not talking at you.
No, he is an old man out of touch.
But I mean, that's it. That's it.
And nobody is telling him.
What if one of the investors in him are crashing in on purpose? What if? No,
not that.
Like, what if he knows that he's letting AEW take some of the thunder right now, and then he's going to come from the ashes and show everyone? Like, what? That's a
when
script.
I'm saying unless his plan is to actually legitimately crash his company.
Quite frankly, that's a script he should be writing, to be honest, on his first TV because it's fucking creative. But I mean, like, it's not going to happen in real life. What's happening is real life. What usually happens in real life behind the scenes on any company is so painfully boring because it's so he's an old man and he's out of touch, and that's the end of my sentence. That's it. And no one's going to challenge him because he's the Vince McMahon and he is the WWE and like all that. No one's going to touch him. That's literally what it is. So people want to keep their jobs and they're going to do, what do I have to do here to keep my job?
Telling
Yeah,
you, bro,
no, you're right.
It's Al Davis.
You're
Al
right.
Davis ran the Raiders till he died.
You're
He
totally
ran
right.
Till he died, bro.
You're totally right. And that's it's boring because that, this podcast would have been 5 minutes long if we all agreed on that. But I mean, it is fun to talk about it and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, that's it. That he's not conspiring to let it go down a little bit so he could rise it back up and make it, No, I'm not saying you said that. I'm just saying I've seen that online. I've seen people say that. Like, but and that's just dumb. That's people who like fantasy booking and shit like that. It just doesn't. That shit doesn't fly with me. But it's not. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do any good. Like, it really doesn't. Like, thinking in the past and being like, what if Macho Man beat Hulk? But it didn't happen though. But what if? Sweet, it didn't happen. Though.
I guess how I should have worded it is,
happen.
I guess if we're thinking that it's not going to ever get better, then we just have to assume in real life that he doesn't care and that he's just going to watch his company crash and burn. Which we know that's not realistic. I mean, I see what you're saying. And I'm not saying you're on that other side of the people who I was describing. I'm just saying that, no, he doesn't know that he's crashing and burning his company. That's what's scary, is he's old and out of touch. Being old and out of touch means you don't get it. Like, period. That you don't get it. That's a blanket phrase. He always used to say, like, get it? And do you have it? It's funny. He doesn't have it anymore. Like, it's really funny how we always used to kind of bag on him for saying that. Like, what is it, Vince? What is the brass ring? What is that? But he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't. He doesn't know that he doesn't have it either. He still thinks he has it. So he goes to work every day going, I have it. And everyone's like, you don't. But whatever, Mr. McMahon, I'm glad you're having a good day. Did you like my script? I rewrote the whole thing. Excellent, Mr. McMahon. Excellent. Oh, I can't wait. That's good shit, pal. Ha ha. Like, that's what happens every day in that company. It's insane. So, like, and it's that simple. It's really that simple what's going on. It's hard to think about, yes. But all these people, they look up to Vince. He's Vince.
Yeah, that's exactly what's
right.
happening.
Like, imagine going to work with a legend every day. He's Vince. Even if you're Triple H, you have to be like, oh, you got to be careful around Vince. Don't say that too loud around Vince. You don't think that goes on all the time? I'm sure that goes on every fucking day in that office. Like, hey, shut up, Ryder. Don't say that around Vince. Don't say that around Vince, okay? They're all tiptoeing around him because they don't want Vince to get pissed because he's Vince. Like, so it's sad and it sucks. Like, because that's as far as it goes. It doesn't get dramatic as like, no, Vince has this big plan. Like, to hire Pritchard and Bischoff and Heyman. Oh man, it is terrible. And it's got a lot of good headlines or whatever, but it's just going to be so brutal because now it's grown so big. It's become its own monster that, like, once they start like booking, like, people are going to be like, this sucks. And we're going to be like, well, I mean, yeah, it was kind of designed that way.
So this is where the conspiracy theory sets in, where Conrad Thompson is the ultimate double agent.
Let's go with that.
Just wants wrestling to crumble and fail.
That sounds better.
He got these guys back into business just to do that with his podcast. Just saying. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. See, I should be writing for WWE Creative. And on that note, guys, once again, you can always reach us via Instagram at O.W.P 2019, SoundCloud at Our Wrestling Podcast, YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, or do the easy thing. Download WrestlePost, an app at no charge to you, and join us with other great podcasts of the day. This is Dave along with Jess and Cuz signing off on the Dark Match episode number 2.